Eddie, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, it's 10 past 7. I'll call this meeting to order. Can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Smiley?
Present.
Board Member Wade?
That'd be you. You're present.
Oh, present.
Chairman Jern?
Present?
And I'll note that Board Member Alvis is not in attendance, but you have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum for the for this meeting. So the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the September 19th, 2011 meeting. Has all the members had an opportunity to review the minutes presented in the package that was given to us?
Yes.
Commissioner Smiley has.
Board Member Smiley said he did.
Okay, very good. Is there any questions or concerns regarding those minutes?
No.
Any concerns regarding the minutes?
No, sir. No concerns from Board Member Smiley.
Okay, thank you.
I take it. I heard him say it was he was good
He was
with
fine
it.
with it.
Okay, very good. Okay, with that being said, I don't have any comments or concerns. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes as,
Okay, I have a motion to approve the minutes as written. I need a second.
Second from Board Member Smiley.
Second. from
Okay,
Board
it's
Member
been moved and seconded to accept the minutes as written. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? The motion passes. Let me see here. That's it for the minutes. The next is public comments. I don't believe we have any members of the public here. Next item on the agenda is review and discussion of board members' roles and responsibilities.
Mr. Chairman, could Board Member Smiley be excused from the meeting at this time? No further action necessary.
Since there's no further official action that he's required to support or defend or whatever, yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, Mr. Smiley, you're free to go.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Bye-bye.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Paul.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
So I guess that means I can sign these minutes here that Bobby has for me.
That's correct.
It's working.
Now we're good. Okay, Mr. Chairman and Board Member Wade, normally at this point in the meeting we review and discuss the board members' roles and responsibilities, and there are some changes that I need to make you aware of that are occurring. The City Council recently adopted a policy regarding how the board and commission is appointed. And so I distributed a copy of that. It has some new requirements for all members of boards and commissions, none of which I suspect is a problem for our current membership, but I just wanted to point out the fact that now they have a requirement of the board member being 18 years of age or older, a Goodyear resident for at least a year, a registered voter, unless that voter requirement is waived as part of the City Council's appointment of the member. They adopted some rules and procedure, or another rule that I believe we've already had in our rules of procedure about members not being city employees or their immediate family members and things like that. One of the new requirements is, though, that members may serve 2 consecutive terms, and so they've introduced a term limitation provision. And so come this October, all of the board members' terms come up all at once. So we will be looking at staggering the terms, and then also probably end up with some new members because of the term limitation requirement. I know that it'll probably sadden you to think that you may not have the opportunity to continue your service, since it's only been since 1995. But Harvey,
It has been, yes. It's been quite a while.
Harvey reminded me today that the only way people have gotten off this board is either by passing away or leaving town. So you've been very committed in your service, and we thank you for that.
I don't know about Terry's case, but in my case, I'm going to be retiring from my employer this year, and my wife and I will be moving out of the city limits. So I guess either way, it's gonna be my end anyway. So.
Well, I'm glad that it fits with your plans then, but we certainly have enjoyed your service and appreciate it. I did want to also advise you or remind you that Karen Keith had resigned her position on the board because she was relocating to California. Pursuant to the new rules that the City Council adopted, they conducted interviews. They took applications, conducted interviews, and it's my understanding that they will be recommending to the full council appointment of a lady named Nancy Harrington to the Board of Adjustment. And if that recommendation is accepted, that is scheduled to occur on March 5th. So we will have a replacement for the remainder of Karen Keith's term. And let me see. One other thing I wanted to mention was the fact that there may be some other changes in the wind due to the fact that the state legislature passed a law in the 2011 session that requires cities to update their rules and procedures to make sure that the applicants are well aware of what the requirements are to get approvals, to get permits, to get licenses, and then also requires that that every approval process have an appeal process. And so there may be another set of appeals that will come into play, and the decision hasn't been made yet. It's still in this formative process of whether or not it's something the Board of Adjustment should take on, or if there should be another Board of Appeals of some sort, or whether we should use a hearing examiner, or there's different options available. But I wanted to make you aware of that's part of the discussion. As a result of that legislation, the procedure revisions have to be in place by the end of this calendar year. So before the end of the year, we would anticipate being back before you at some point in time to further discuss those types of changes, and then also revise our rules procedure accordingly. So there may be some changes to the rules that need to be made. And I think as far as, I think that's all I have on that particular agenda topic. If it pleases the board, I'll move on to the discussion on the rules of procedure. You gentlemen have both been on the board for so long. I don't know that you need to be briefed on that, or even the criteria for granting a variance. I think you're well familiar with that.
I'm fully in support of that. I do have a question though,
Sure.
regarding the rules of procedure where the state law may be changing. If I believe the last hearing we held was basically an appeal of the decision of the
zoning
staff,
amendment.
correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So.
But it was an appeal pursuant to a zoning ordinance decision. and the Board of Adjustment is specifically responsible for hearing those types of appeals.
Okay.
So that in and of itself would not necessarily change. But it requires it for every license approval process. So let's say, for the sake of argument, somebody has a utility bill dispute that they want to appeal. There needs to be a mechanism in place for them to be heard and have an opportunity to make that appeal. Whether that would come to this board, right now it's not set up to come to this board. Frankly, I'm not sure it's set up to go anywhere precisely, and that's one of the things we're working on. But it's a possibility that the decision could be made that the Board of Adjustment's role should be expanded to include those types of cases as well. So I would point out there is already another board that's required under the building code, and it's a board of, I forget the exact name of it, but it has it's set forth in the building code, and it has certain requirements as to membership. The members have to be representative of certain professional trades, licensed architect, at least one, and maybe a licensed electrical engineer or something. So they have specific requirements. So we already have a separate board that was recently set up to fulfill that requirement. And now we have this board, which fulfills the requirements under the zoning ordinance. I don't know if it makes sense to have a third board or whether we combine some of the duties, and that's what's being discussed right now as to the best way to do that.
Excellent. Thank you.
And unfortunately, I let Mr. Smiley go before we conducted the election of officers.
I just realized that. So I don't know if if there's an issue with our charter or not, but since he's not here, and can this be postponed to like a future meeting?
Well, I think it certainly can. We'll just make it the first order of business. I think in retrospect, we probably should have done it at the beginning of the meeting, but as it stands right now, you would remain chairman, and board member Keith was vice chairman, so we would not have a vice chairman at this point, but like I said, we could deal with it the first item of the next meeting. We may need to convene a meeting. I have had one contact recently regarding a potential variance request, so we may end up having a meeting sooner than later.
Very good. Well, then, if there's not any issues with it, I suggest we postpone this to the next meeting.
Okay, we can do that.
I have no comments or questions beyond what I've already asked.
I have no questions.
Okay.
I guess with that being said, if you have no comments or questions or concerns, I hereby say we adjourn.
Very good. Thank you for your attendance tonight. We appreciate it.
That's quite all right. It's I actually had a conflict tonight, and I had planned another conflict before I realized I had this one. I thought, well, I can't get out of this one, but this one's really more important, so.
We kept you longer this time than last year, I guess. Last year's meeting said adjourned at 7:02.
Oh, did it? Well, it might have been, because I have an issue with getting here on time too. It might have been a week where I had a holiday and I got home by like 4:30 or so.
I just wanted to double check, make sure we got your signature on everything. Very good. She said 2 copies. Okay. We're good.
Excellent. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, until we hear from you again.
Well, like I said, it may be sooner than you think, but appreciate it, taking the time out of your evening.
Have you heard anything on that appeal that we heard on? Have they taken?
They've contacted us back and talked about filing for the use permit, but got the, a permit for the other assisted living home, the one that kind of blocked him.
Yes.
He hasn't started it yet. He changed this certificate of occupancy